Hello and welcome back to Hot Flushes and Homework. I'm really glad you're here. Today's episode is a quieter one you don't need to listen to while doing anything else if you don't want to. This is an episode you can come back to, pause, rewind, or simply let it wash over you. That's too fast. Today we're talking about grief, but not the kind of grief that usually gets named or recognised. Not grief that comes from a death, a breakup, or a single defining loss. We're talking about the kind of grief that comes from change. Grief for the version of yourself. Grieve for the version of yourself you used to be. Grief for the energy, the confidence or ease you once had. Grief for how you thought this stage of life would feel. If you've been feeling sad, unsettled, teary or emotionally raw without quite knowing why, this episode is for you. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not being dramatic. You're not failing at midlife. You may simply be grieving something that hasn't been given words yet. Let's start there. The grief no one names. Perimenopause and menopause are often discussed in practical terms. Hot flushes, sleep problems, mood changes, brain fog. These symptoms are real and valid, but they're only part of the picture. Underneath the physical changes, many parents and midlife women experience a quite emotional grief. You might miss your old body, your old resilience, your old confidence, your old sense of identity, who you were before life felt so heavy or complicated. And because nothing has been taken away in a visible or dramatic way, this grief often goes unrecognised. You might tell yourself, I should be grateful. Other people have it worse than I do. Nothing terrible has happened. So the sadness gets minimised. But grief doesn't only come from loss. It comes from transition. It comes from the gap between who you were, who you thought you would be, and who you're becoming. That kind of grief deserves tenderness too. When your identity shifts. For many of us, identity has been built slowly over decades. We became the reliable one, the capable one, the one who copes, the one who keeps everything moving. Our sense of worth may have been tied to caring for others, holding everything together, being productive, being emotionally steady, being needed. And then midlife arrives. Your body changes, your energy shifts, your tolerance for stress narrows. Suddenly, once felt manageable, feels really heavy. And this can be deeply unsettling. You might find yourself asking, who am I now if I can't do what I used to do? What if I don't bounce back? What if this is permanent? What comes next? These questions can feel frightening, but they are not signs of weakness. They are signs of transition. When an old identity no longer fits, it doesn't mean you failed. It means you're outgrowing something that once kept you safe. The invisible mourning. One of the hardest parts of this kind of grief is how lonely it can feel. Because you may look fine on the outside. You may still be showing up, still parenting, still working, still caring. So the grief stays invisible. You might feel pressure to carry on as normal, even while something inside you is quietly letting go. This invisible mourning, and it can feel confusing. You may grieve the body that felt predictable, the mind that felt sharp, the version of you who could say yes more easily, the sense of certainty you once had. You don't have to justify this grief. You don't have to explain it away. It is real because you feel it. Making space for the sadness. Now, grief needs space. Not fixing, not reframing, not positivity. Just space. You don't need to rush into gratitude. You don't need to look for lessons. You don't need to tell yourself it could be worse. You are allowed to sit with the sadness. You are allowed to feel disappointed. You are allowed to mourn the version of life you expected. Grief does not mean you're ungrateful for your life. It means you are human. If tears come more easily lately, that doesn't mean you're falling apart. It may mean you finally allowing yourself to feel something that's been held in for a very long time. Letting go gently. Letting go is often misunderstood. It doesn't mean erasing who you were. It doesn't mean pretending the past didn't matter. Letting go in this season might look like honouring the version of you that got you here. Thanking her for what she carried. Acknowledging how hard she worked. Allowing a new version of you to emerge. This new version may move slower. She may need more rest. She may say no more often. She may be less willing to tolerate what drains her. She is not lesser. She is wiser. She carries discontentment instead of endurance. Refining strength. Strength at this stage of life often looks very different from what we were taught. And that's okay. It may look like choosing rest over pushing through, cancelling plans without apologising, asking for help, changing expectations, admitting when something is too much, listening to your body instead of overriding it. This is not giving up. This is adapting. This is strength that is responsive, not rigid. Strength that protects rather than depletes. Who you are becoming. You are not disappearing. You are not losing yourself. You are becoming. Becoming someone who knows her limits. Becoming someone who values her energy. Becoming someone who chooses herself more often. This process can feel uncomfortable. It can feel uncertain. But it is not empty. It is spacious, and something new can grow there at your pace. If this episode stirred something in you, please be gentle with yourself today. Drink water, rest if you can, and lower expectations where possible. You don't need to process everything at once. Grief unfolds slowly, and you don't have to walk through it alone. In the next episode, we'll talk about relationships, feeling misunderstood, emotional distance, and learning how to communicate what you're going through. Thank you for trusting me with something so tender. I look forward to speaking to you again soon.